Hi everyone, it's Sonia here. So I wanted to give you another update on what's been going on in Quebec, which is probably fairly similar to what's going on, in a lot of places, including where you live, with regards to the upcoming vaccination of the kids under 12. I have to say I've had a lot of problems today with my equipment. My Snagit isn't working. So I'm going to have to take my camera and turn it around to show you, because I can't use my print screen, I can't use my Snagit. But whatever, I just want to make this video anyway. So I just want to say thanks for hitting like and for leaving me a comment. And thank you so much for your support on Patreon, which helps keep my channel going. And also, I want to remind you, I have the pouches from Just Gone Systems, which remove viruses, bacteria, fungus, and mold from the air. I wanted to bring them up again because I had one in my car and it destroyed any odor that was in my car. I mean, my car smelled like a new car, and then I didn't replace it. And I got in my car the other day and I was like, somebody needs a pouch in their car, and it's me. And I thought, man, you guys need to try this if you have odors in your car or basically wherever. This actually removes the source of the odor. It's not a filter. It eliminates the stuff that makes things smell. So it's 15% off and no shipping and handling for 3-pack of pouches, even if you live in Canada. So I'll leave you the link below so that you can check it out and get more info. So let's start with this. Oh my God, it's so low tech. This was from the 25th of August from Journal du Québec. The vaccination of 11 years and under to control the fourth wave. So this was in August. They were already asking whether, wouldn't this be necessary to vaccinate the kids to control the upcoming fourth wave of COVID that would unavoidably hit Quebec. So what happened after that was just recently, this is September 20th, it was announced in Le Soleil, Pfizer announces vaccine works for children aged 5 to 11. What the Pfizer study did was it measured antibody levels, and it said that the children produced robust antibody levels. So based on that, they decided it's effective. They also announced that it's safe. So this is what Quebec parents have been notified of, that it is safe for the kids and generates also a robust immune response, and that they're only getting a third of the dose. So people have basically been kind of primed since August, well, even before that, to expect that the vaccine would eventually be approved for the kids. And then we were told, it looks to be safe and effective. And it just so happens this is coming at a time when schools are being shut down due to COVID-19 outbreaks. So there have been many articles about this. It turned out it was 3 schools that were shut down, and they're going to be sending testing kits to schools across the province. This is from our government, where they talk about, the outbreaks that are happening in the schools. So the reason I'm bringing this up, and you guys, I have to be very, very careful about how I present this information. I could just basically show you the articles and show you the stats from our government. When I first heard about the outbreaks in schools, what struck me was that our newspapers announced that there had been 600 outbreaks. Oh my God, 600 outbreaks, oh my God. But how many people did they involve? 1,000. So I was like, wait a minute. You got 600 schools with outbreaks and it involves 1,000 people. Well, that would mean that the outbreaks involve like 1 or 2 people. What's going on? What kind of outbreaks are these? And I went to the government's website, and let me show you. It says it right here. When the government here is talking about outbreaks, this is what they're talking about. Total number of schools that have reported 1 or more positive cases with the diagnosis since August 23rd. So now it's up to 1,139, but it is literally just 1 or more positive cases. So I was right. An outbreak could actually be 1 case. So there were a lot of schools where there was like 1 or 2 people who got the COVID, and that was an outbreak. Because outbreak, it's like, oh my God, it's an outbreak. Didn't they make a movie about that? Wasn't there a movie called Outbreak? Oh my God, we're going to die. And it's like, okay, somebody had a positive test. Relax. we're not all going to die yet. But they want to make sure that they pick up all the cases. So this is what they're doing. They are deploying rapid COVID-19 tests in primary schools. That they started with a few regions, and now they're expanding to more, like the regions that they consider high risk, which are all listed here. So for some reason, this entire time, they didn't use rapid testing in schools. But now, after a year and a half, now they're going to do it. And just right before the kids are able to get vaccinated, as it so happens. So obviously, the more people you test, the more likely you are to detect cases. They need to find all these cases so that the parents will understand that now the kids are getting COVID. So it's really important to vaccinate them because you don't want them to get sick, right? Because this entire time we just keep hearing about how it's not affecting kids. But now with the Delta, it is affecting kids. So things have changed. So, good thing that vaccine is ready, right? But there's another aspect to this. So here's a little thing that a lot of people don't realize in Montreal. There had been this seroprevalence studies among children. So here's what they found. Small minority of children have had COVID. So according to this Encore study, they said that on average, 5.8% of participating children were found to have antibodies to SARS-CoV-2. However, the seroprevalence increased sharply over time. So between October and November of 2020, only 3.3% of children had antibodies. By April 2021, in the third wave, 8.9% of the students tested had antibodies. Not peer-reviewed yet. So basically, like they say, what they found here was that when they started the study, really low percentage of kids had it. But by the third wave, it was like almost 9%. 9% of the kids that they were randomly testing in their study had antibodies, meaning they had COVID. Yeah, so here's something interesting they mentioned. Would have gone undetected. Look, I'll show it to you. Would have gone undetected. Interestingly, of the 95 children who tested positive for antibodies with our serology test, 82% had previously tested negative or had never been tested for the virus. This means most of the participating children's infections would have gone undetected without study. So basically, what they discovered was that most of these infections would have gone under the radar, meaning obviously the kids weren't very sick. They weren't being taken to the hospital. A lot of them were asymptomatic and nobody even knew that they had it. And even when they'd been tested, they had tested negative. Yeah, so basically all this time, there was a proportion of kids from 2 to 17 who had caught the virus at some point, and most of this just went under the radar. But right now, that's what everyone is worried about here. It's whether their kids are going to catch it. Our government is going to great lengths to test kids in school. I mean, if there's one positive case, they ask everyone to get tested. I actually went to get tested a while ago. I'm laughing because some of you guys know about my whole thing when I was on vacation with my sore throat. I went to get tested, and they told me, you're lucky you came today because yesterday there was a 2-hour wait. And so there have been these pictures in the news of these huge lineups because the entire school went to get tested. So they're putting an enormous amount of effort into to finding all the cases in kids now. And another aspect of this is that as they've made the vaccines mandatory for healthcare workers now, I think that the teachers are next in line. Because look at the coverage of this. Teacher could be responsible for school outbreak. Yeah, because these outbreaks are terrible, because when they happen, then they shut down the whole school. The kids have to stay home. So what a disaster. So it turned out that in this particular school, Saint-Émile Elementary School, they had, I think, 38 cases, 39. Yeah, so lots of kids and I guess some staff as well, but including one unvaccinated teacher turned up positive for COVID. And for some reason, they've decided that it must be that teacher's fault for this outbreak. How would they know who actually started it? It could have been any one of the kids. I don't know what kind of methodology they used. I don't really think they use any at this point. But it's like the general sentiment was like, well, this teacher, she's unvaccinated and she doesn't have to wear a mask when she's 2 meters away, but this teacher will go closer to the kids without a mask. And she's an anti-masker, she's an anti-vaxxer, so she must have started it. Honestly, to me, it sounded like kind of witch hunt mentality, because we don't know. But that got a lot of press here. Oh my God, it's the unvaccinated teacher. She did it. She's the one with the COVID. Oh my God. And they even interviewed kids, and the kids were saying, the teachers say that when they're 2 meters away, they can take off the mask. But there she was not 2 meters away. She was really close to me. So I told myself to back up a bit. Like, oh my God, my teacher is too close. I'm going to get the COVID. They interviewed a child, a poor kid. And the kid's so scared because his teacher was too close. So, I mean, anyway, like, none of this would be evidence in a court of law, but it's plenty of evidence in the media. So here's another thing. We've been having supposedly the fourth wave, right? I mean, no, not supposedly. Government says we are having the fourth wave, and so we are having the fourth wave. So here's a bit about who's actually turning up positive. These are our government statistics here from INSPQ. Okay, and this here tells you evolution of the cases based on age. So here we are in these recent days, and you see how very high the cases are between 0 to 9 and 10 to 19. I mean, look at that. It's like 40% of the cases are in children like up to 19 years old. So the recent cases, a lot of them are in the kids. And that's because they're testing them so much. They're testing a lot of kids. So they now represent this huge proportion of COVID cases, which makes the parents feel totally freaked out. Like, oh my God, look at this, the fourth wave, it's affecting the children. But that's because they're testing the kids. Somebody gets it, everybody has to get tested. So they're picking up a lot of cases. But there's another thing that's interesting. Of course, I'm watching the numbers and I'm seeing that the cases are going up. But then after a while, I noticed something else. So this is where our government gives us our COVID-19 data. So here's an old one that I took a screenshot of. Okay, and here they had tested 26,000 people, a bit more than that. Test positivity rate was 2.8, and the RT was 1.14. September 15th, the positivity rate was 2.5, and the RT was 1.14. And then this is the 16th. It's again 2.5. And see, now this has actually gone up to 1.17. So apparently, like, once it's below 1, it means it's not spreading. It's like it's going down. Positivity rate was 2.5. It's kind of stable, right? And this is also pretty stable. And then if you look at where it's at now, even they're doing like a lot of testing, right? This was from the 23rd of September. Look, to get this number 701, they had to do more than 36,000 tests, and the positivity rate actually has gone down, and the taux de reproduction is lower. It's 1.03, whereas before it was 1.17. So this kind of tells you, like, the reason you have 700 cases was because you tested a lot of people. See, this is September 9th. You're testing like 10,000 less people, and you're getting more cases. And this is where we are now. Well, for today, this has gone down and this has gone down. So it's, the percentages aren't actually going up. Interesting. That's tests a lot of people, especially a lot of kids, to get this number. If they had tested 10,000 less people, this would be lower, So there was one other thing that I had seen lately, which was also from the INSPQ. They did a survey and they were looking at people who get symptoms and whether they go and get tested. And they discovered that a lot of people don't go and get tested. Percentage, the yellow is no, I did not get tested. Look at this. Most people who are in contact with a case or who have symptoms don't get tested. So you can imagine if we did all those tests, we'd be picking up a whole bunch more people. So, whatever they tell you here, and then that also means like what proportion of people who have it end up in hospital and all that. We don't really know the real numbers because most people who should be getting tested aren't even getting tested. And right now they're investing a lot of time and effort into testing the kids. That's why this 40% of this number is kids 19 or under. And we really don't know what's happening. But we do know that the positivity rate and the RT are going down. So we don't know who those people are. But some people are speculating that people who've been vaccinated, who are really not worried so much about their own health, they're not running out to get tested because they don't want to end up in quarantine, and they're just not worried about it. So nobody knows exactly what's going on. But whatever numbers we have, we probably have maybe double the cases, but they're out there, but they're just under the radar because people aren't getting tested. So basically, the more tests you do, the more cases you find. And the more tests you do in kids, the more cases you find in kids. But like I said before, a lot of kids have been getting it all along, and it was just going under the radar. But now it's very much on the mind of the public. Our media is definitely highlighting the problem. And well, next up will be, let's see how many people get their kids vaccinated. I mean, that's basically what I can say about it. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to prevent the fourth wave at this point, because I think we're kind of over the hump of the fourth wave, or that's what it looks like, although I could be wrong. I have to mention that. Disclaimer, it's just looking to me like we might be over the hump, but we don't know. It could be a zigzag, and it could be a hump, and then it could go way up. Oh my God. So maybe the kids won't be vaccinated for the fourth wave, because maybe the fourth wave is on the decline. We don't really know. But maybe the kids will be vaccinated for the fifth wave, and the sixth, and the seventh, and the eighth, and all the other waves that we're going to have after that. So yay, then the kids will be vaccinated, and we won't have to worry anymore. So that's it. I hope you found that interesting. And thanks again for your support on Patreon. Don't forget to check out the link for the awesome pouch that removes the smells. And thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.